Hello, everyone. Welcome to Inside Talk Show. I'm Carla Elizondo. We're continuing the reading of Neville Goddard's Awakened Imagination. We're on Chapter 7, Part 2. We're going to pick up where we left off. This experience of mine not only shows the world as a manifestation of the mental activity of the individual observer, but it also reveals our course of time as jumps of attention between eternal moments. An infinite abyss separates any two moments of ours. We, by the movements of our attention, give life to the sculptures of losses halls. So we, by the movements of our attention, give life to the sculptures of losses halls. I had to look that up because I was like, what is losses halls? I don't know what that is. I don't even know if I'm saying it right. But there was a really good definition. So this person says, the sculptures of losses halls is a reference to something in William Blake's poem, Jerusalem. Okay. So the quote from that poem is, all things acted on earth are seen in the bright sculptures of losses halls, and every age renews its powers from these works, with every pathetic story possible to happen from hate or wayward love, and every sorrow and distress is carved here. So losses halls is creation is finished. And he uses this metaphor. It says, according to Goddard, creation is already complete. So the universe is like an amusement park with an infinite number of attractions. These are the sculptures of losses halls. Unless someone chooses one of the attractions, unless we choose to put our attention on whatever it is in this amusement park that's already done. So every desire you have is an attraction. Everything you ever want. Remember, creation is finished. Every desire, every dream exists. Picture life as a big amusement park. And that dream you have, that desire, is a great ride. But you have to animate it by your attention. So it already exists, but through attention and focus and thinking about it is how we animate that ride to start going. So he says creation is already complete. So the universe is like an amusement park with an infinite number of attractions. These are the sculptures of losses halls. Unless someone chooses one of the attractions, it is frozen and immobile. We choose a scene according to our thoughts, beliefs, and emotions, and then that scene springs to life. We can choose happy, interesting, and exciting scenes, or miserable, dull scenes. That's really powerful. So if you imagine walking into a big museum, right? Your life, the world is a huge museum. And it's the world behind our eyes. So let's close our eyes and really go inside and picture everything you desire or have desired. Something in the past or something you want in the future. And see it as a scene of sculptures. There's you, there's the people you want involved, the scene, and it's just frozen. They're statues. But it will become animated and it will become real life. But only if you give it attention, have faith, believe, and cultivate it. Isn't that good? So we, by the movements of our attention, give life to the sculptures of losses halls. Think of the world as containing an infinite number of states of consciousness from which it could be viewed. Think of these things as rooms or mansions in the house of God, and like the rooms of any house, they are fixed relative to one another. But think of yourself, the real self, the imaginative you, as the living, moving occupant of God's house. Each room contains some of Los's sculptures, with infinite plots and dramas and situations already worked out, but not yet activated. They are activated as soon as human imagination enters and fuses with them. Each represents certain mental and emotional activities. To enter a state, man must consent to the ideas and feelings which it represents. These states represent an infinite number of possible mental transformations which man can experience. The move into another state or mansion necessitates a change of beliefs. All that you could ever desire is already present and only waits to be matched by your beliefs. But it must be matched, for that is the necessary condition by which alone it can be activated and objectified. Matching the belief of a state is the seeking that finds, the knocking to which it is opened, the asking that receives. Go in and possess the land. The moment man matches the beliefs of any state, he fuses with it, and this union results in the activation and projection of its plots, plans, dramas, and situations. It becomes an individual's home from which he views the world. It is his workshop, and if he is observant, he will see outer reality shaping itself upon the model of his imagination. Let me read that again. The moment we match the belief of any state, we fuse with it. The moment that we match the belief, when our belief buys into that sculpture scene of any state, so any dream or desire, the moment our belief matches with that, we give life to it. The moment we match the belief of any state, we fuse with it. And this union results in the activation and projection of its plots, plans, dramas, and situations. It becomes the individual's home from which we view the world. It is our workshop. And if we are observant, we will see outer reality shaping itself upon the model of our imagination. It is for this purpose of training us in image making that we were made subject to the limitations of the scenes and clothed in bodies of flesh. It is the awakening of the imagination, the returning of his Son that our Father waits for. We have to be trained in image making, or we will become statues ourselves. We will die. We will be unanimated. The creature was made subject to vanity, not willingly, but by reason of him who subjected it. So the creature was made subject to vanity, not willing, but by reason of him was subjected it. That was from Romans. Okay, another quote. But the victory of the Son, the return of the prodigal, assures us that the creature shall be delivered from the bondage of corruption into the glorious liberty of the sons of God. We were subjected to this biological experience because no one can know of imagination who has not been subject to the vanities and limitations of the flesh, who has not taken his share of sonship and gone prodigal, who has not experimented and tasted this cup of experience. And confusion will continue until man wakes and a fundamentally imaginative view of life has been reestablished and acknowledged as basic. I should preach the unsearchable riches of Christ and make all men see what is the fellowship of the mystery, which from the beginning of the world has been hid in God, who created all things by Jesus Christ. Bear in mind that Christ in you is your imagination. Neville tells us this all the time. And we've heard that message. I certainly did. The kingdom of heaven is within you. The kingdom of God is within. The Christ is within. It's in our own human imagination. Christ is your imagination. As the appearance of our world is determined by the particular state with which we are fused, so may we determine our fate as individuals by fusing our imaginations with ideals we seek to realize. On the distinction between our states of consciousness depends the distinction between the circumstances and conditions of our lives. Man, who is free in his choice of state, often cries out to be saved from the state of his choice. And ye shall cry out in that day, because of your king, which ye shall have chosen you, and the Lord will not hear you in that day. Nevertheless, the people refused to obey the voice of Samuel, and they said, Nay, but we will have a king over us. Okay, and that was a quotation from the Bible. Choose wisely the state that you will serve. Choose wisely the state that you will serve. All states are lifeless until imagination fuses with them. So this is another way of saying sculptures or losses halls. They are different states. We even use that terminology, state of mind. I have been in the wrong state of mind. Get into the right state of mind. Think of it as a place you dwell, like an actual state. I dwell in California. Where do you dwell? That's the state I dwell, but that's physical. I have mental states. What state of mind am I in? Where am I living? Where am I dwelling? Is the state good? Does it make me feel good? Is the state bad? Does it make me feel bad? Choose wisely the state that you will serve. All states are lifeless until imagination fuses with them. All things, when they are admitted, are made manifest by the light. For everything that is made manifest is light. And ye are the light of the world, by which those ideas to which you have consented are made manifest. Woof. Hold fast to your ideal. Nothing can take it from you but your imagination. Don't think of your ideal. Think from it. Ooh, we've talked a lot about this. This is so important. Where's my little remember? Hold fast to your ideal. Nothing can take it from you but your imagination. Don't think of your ideal. Think from it. Don't think of your ideal. So the carrot is your ideal. The hope, the dream, the wish. The hope, the dream, the wish. Don't think of your ideal. Think from it. You already have it. You're here. It's with you. You think from it, not of it. It is only the ideal from which you think that are ever realized. Man lives not by bread alone, but by every word that proceeds out of the mouth of God. And the mouth of God is the mind of man. I feel like I've read this before. I will never stop. No, I haven't. I mean, he's used this quote before. Okay, man lives not by bread alone, but by every word that proceeds out of the mouth of God. And the mouth of God is the mind of man. Become a drinker and an eater of the ideals you wish to realize. Have a set, definite aim, or your mind will wander, and wander, it eats every negative suggestion. Isn't that so true today? We have to become a drinker and an eater, meaning what are we drinking in with our eyeballs? What are we eating up with our ears? What are we soaking in with our smells and senses? What are we eating and drinking with our minds? Become a drinker and an eater of the ideals you wish to realize. Have a set, definite aim, or your mind will wander, just like the captain of a ship. You're driving a big ship, it's just you. If you don't know where you're sailing, if you don't have just the next destination, that's what we call goals. If you do not know where you're headed, it doesn't matter how big it is. You have to have a direction, a place to know where you're going, a specific place, because if you don't, you'll just drift. You'll just drift. My goodness. It says, have a set, definite aim, or your mind will wander, and wandering, it eats every negative suggestion. Not only are goals helpful for us to have a sense of direction, purpose, but it protects us from all that negative stuff around us. We have got to be in control of our lives. Because when we don't have a destination, that's, we're sitting ducks, we're just floating. All the sharks will come around because we're just literally targets for people who take advantage of other people. And this is just like energetically, I'm talking metaphorically here, but energetically take advantage of you, manipulate you. Victims, are easily manipulated. People who are porous and weak and have no self-esteem. Whoa, this is big stuff. So have a set definite aim of your mind, or your mind will wander, and wander, it eats every negative suggestion. If you live right mentally, everything else will be right. By a change of mental diet, you can alter the course of observed events. But unless there is a change of mental diet, your personal history remains the same. It's just like a physical diet. If you don't like the state of your life, you have to change what you're feeding your mind, because this is where every state you're observing comes from your mind. So just like your physical body, if you don't like the state of your physical body or your weight, change the physical diet, because the physical diet is the thing that creates the physical body. You following here? So if you live right mentally, everything else will be right. By a change of mental diet, you can alter the course of observed events. But unless there is a change of mental diet, your personal history remains the same. You illuminate or darken your life by the ideas to which you consent. Nothing is more important to you than the ideas on which you feed. Nothing is more important to you than the ideas on which you feed. And you feed on the ideas from which you think. If you find the world unchanged, it is a sure sign that you are wanting in fidelity to the new mental diet, which you neglect in order to condemn your environment. So it says, if you find the world unchanged, it is a sure sign that you are not staying true to your new mental diet of positive thinking. You're not sticking to the diet. If your world isn't changing, you're not sticking to your diet. If your physical body's not changing, you're not sticking to the physical diet. Okay, you are in need of a new and sustained attitude. You can be anything you please if you will make the conception habitual. For any idea which excludes all others from the field of attention discharges in action. The ideas and moods to which you constantly return define the state with which you are fused. Okay. The ideas and moods to which you constantly return define the state with which you are fused. So whatever state you're fused with is due to the repetition of the ideas and moods, the things you're addicted to. It's like, if you're addicted to fast food daily, sweets at night, late night eating, drinking, whatever it is, you're going to keep getting those results. And internally, the moods and the ideas, the mental Oreos, the, thoughts that are thick, heavy French fries, they will have a weight in your life. So the ideas and moods to which you consent constantly return to define the state with which you are fused. Therefore, train yourself to occupy more frequently the feelings of your wish fulfilled. This is creative magic. It is the way to work toward fusion with the desired state. If you would assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled more frequently, you would be a master of your fate. But unfortunately, you shut out your assumption for all but the occasional hour. Practice making real to yourself the feeling of the wish fulfilled. After you have assumed the feeling of the wish fulfilled, do not close the experience as you would a book, but carry it around like a fragrant odor. Instead of being completely forgotten, let it remain in the atmosphere, communicating its influence automatically to your actions and reactions. A mood, often repeated, gains a momentum that is hard to break or check. Isn't that true? A mood often repeated gains a momentum that is hard to break or check. If you've been around someone who has the habitual returning to bad moods and vibes, the older someone gets, it's just accepted. That's just who they are. Oh, they can always change it, but they have to change it. But it's hard to break. Oh man. A mood often repeated gains a momentum that's hard to break. Okay. So be careful of the feelings you entertain. Habitual moods reveal the state with which you are fused. So really, we can't be mad at anybody who's a jerk, an a-hole, in a bad mood, or who's grumpy, because that's just a reflection of the moods, the ideas, and the attitudes that they're fused with. Doesn't that bring compassion to you already? How terrible. They're in hell. Ergo, they are hell to be around. Be careful of the feelings you entertain. Habitual moods reveal the state with which you are fused. So if someone's they're regularly just in a bad mood, those are the feelings and the thoughts, negative, bad feelings and thoughts that they are habitually fused with. And it's our choice to be around them or not. We can't change them. Only they can change themselves. But somebody who's upset and angry in a bad mood, that's what's going on inside. So instead of being mad, yelling at them, judging them, if you can stand it, maybe smile at them, give them love. What do they need? Or just stay away from them, right? Pray for them. It is always possible to pass from thinking of the end to okay, let me read that again. It is always possible to pass from thinking of the end you desire to realize to thinking from the end. But the crucial matter is thinking from the end. For thinking from means unification or fusion with the idea. Whereas in thinking of the end, there is always subject and object, the thinking individual and the thing thought. You must imagine yourself into the state of your wish fulfilled. In your love for that state, and in so doing, live and think from it, and no more of it. You pass from thinking of to thinking from by creating your imagination in the feeling of the wish fulfilled. I read that wrong. Okay. You must imagine yourself into the state of your wish fulfilled, in your love for that state. And in doing so, live and think from it, and no more of it. You pass from thinking of to thinking from by centering your imagination in the feeling of the wish fulfilled. I love that. I love when in the beginning, when I first started reading this about stay in it. We can't just let it pass. We can't just think of it for 1 hour and then for 23 hours of the day, just continue to be brainwashed by the world. We have to constantly return back, centering our mind to the state. We have to dwell and think from the state. Don't think of it, future in front of you, because it will never happen. Remember, if we are always thinking of instead of thinking from, we will continue to keep walking. Boop, 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 boop. And guess where the carrot? Are we going to get any closer to the carrot? The state desired. If we keep walking, are we ever going to get closer to the state desired? We will remain separate. There will always be that gap when we think of it. When we think of it. We must think from it. It's instant. We're here right now. We're already here, and dwell there in the state desired. Sitting in the state. That can be another funny drawing. I don't even know if I have a pen. Oh, here we go. Let me do it on here. Ooh. So I'll just do a weird state. How funny. Okay. Okay. So we, instead of thinking, look, I put a happy face, but I meant a sad face. Okay. He's thinking of the state desired, but we must think from the state desired. We are in the state. In the state. Jump all into it mentally. Remember, this is happening with our eyes closed. We're in it. We're assuming that we're already in the state desired. Have you ever wanted something so bad? So bad that when you're like, oh, I forgot that wasn't real. Like if you've ever moved or got in a new job, but you're still physically at your old job or physically at your old apartment, but you've already put your 2 weeks notice in and you're already at your new job or you're just out of this old job. You can forget maybe like the next morning, oh my gosh, I still have to go to work. I forgot. I'm still there for 2 weeks. Physically, you still have to be there, but mentally you're gone, baby. Or in your new apartment, say you're moving towns or cities, if you ever moved, from one place to another, your mind is already there. You're already there. And then you forget sometimes. So then when you arrive, you're like, this is it. Be there now. Be there now. Okay, I hope you have a wonderful day. See y'all tomorrow.